Hey, what's up guys? Getting ready to do a bar swap on the 2020 Road Glide Special. This will be the first mod I make. Throwing a set of 14-inch factory 47s on here, getting rid of this stock junk. So let's jump right into it. In order to get your bezel off right here, you got a T25 torque bit on each side, and you've also got a clip down here on the bottom that you're gonna use a little side pick to push down. And if I got lucky doing this one-handed, yep, it'll slide right off. I've got a towel down over my bike. I know that's making some of this stuff hard to see, but definitely trying to protect the paint. You get your clip off, turn your ignition switch sideways, and this bezel will slide out over it. Now once you get this off, you've got 3 plugs back here in the back. You got one there, one on the other side, and one right here we're gonna have to unplug. You're gonna come down here, find all the wires that are coming out of your bars. It's gonna be 4 plugs. You've got 3 up top here and 1 back here. These 3 up in the front, it's got a tab you push, slide it out. I've already released them all, pull that out. And then down here in the back, this right here, you're gonna have to use 2 hands on. So I'm gonna have to do this without the camera, but down on the bottom of the clip here, there's a release for this plug to slide out. Once you get this off, you're good to go. Next thing you wanna do is release your brake and your clutch controls. In order to do so, you're gonna take a T27 torque bit, release. You're gonna unscrew these 2 bolts on each side. That's gonna free that up. Once you get it freed up, wrap it up in a towel or something like that so that it's not dangling down there, beating up your fairing or your gas tank or anything like that. Okay, so I just released it. I ended up wrapping it up, just laying it across here on the crash bar. We're good to go. Now, the only thing I like is using a 1/4-inch Allen to release this, and my handlebars will be freed up. Okay, one thing I do like about this setup is that I've got these bolts all but out, holding the bar on. And these handlebars aren't swinging over. And the reason being, there's actually a tab. Get this popped off. Okay. There's actually a tab in these stock handlebars. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Right there. Stock bars have a hole in them so that you cannot adjust the handlebars. If you buy aftermarket bars, or if you want to adjust these bars, if you just want to make adjustments to your stock bars, get you a punch and drive that pin in. A lot of these aftermarket bars that will go on here do not have a slot for that, so you're going to have to push it in anyway. But we've got the bars freed up. We're about to go inside and start doing some de-wiring. Be back in a minute. All right, guys, down here on the floor. Ain't really no comfortable place to do this stuff, but getting ready to disassemble these controls. You got 2 bits on each side, top, bottom, top and bottom. That is a T25 torque bit. You can unscrew these. This thing will come off just like a clamshell, and you're good to go. Just wanted to show you that this is on your throttle side. Once you get the 2 bolts off and you release your clamshell, there is another clip inside there attaching it to the bar. All it does is just cock over and pop out. Once you release that, you've got 2 plugs that you'll need a pick to release from. You'll disengage that. That is good to go. After you do that, let me use my feet in this. Your throttle by a wire grip will slide off. This little switch here that you're gonna have to disassemble before this control assembly here will completely come apart. All you're gonna do is reach up under here, reach up under it with a pick or a flathead screwdriver, press down, and this will slide off. Once you get that off, you can disassemble everything. Also, on this side, you have that clip right here that you will have to release. Then you can release your plug. And as I said, this is your brake side. Gonna release this. This will come off. we're good to go. At this point, once you get everything completely disassembled, you're gonna take one hand, you're gonna grab on this end, other hand on this end, and you're gonna use the old push-pull technique until you release this wire. I guess some bars do have slots here to make feeding your wire through easier, but if you do not have to get there, don't take any kind of protective film off, because you want to try to protect that as much as possible. You're going to be flipping and flopping in these bars, and the last thing you want to do is get them all scratched up before you ever get them on your bike. So I've got this ready now. I'm going to start feeding some wires back in. Some of these dealers are charging $600–700. I've heard $1,000 for an install on something like this. Save you money, do it yourself, and then spend that money on something you want, like a seat or whatever. But when you get ready to pull these wires through, all you're going to do is take a rope. I take a nut, just anything with some weight. You're gonna feed it in where you want the wires to come out at. Put it in there and just kind of shake it through and let gravity take its course. And then once you get it up here, voila, there it is. That's all it takes. I'm gonna tie this off to the proper wiring, and then I'm gonna feed it through. That's it. This is on my throttle side. I've just got my little rope duct tape or electrical tape to the wiring that I'm going to be pulling through. The throttle by wire comes in through the end. Your actual wiring itself comes in right here where the perch clamp is. But I've got it threaded through. I'm about to pull it in. All right, in order to get it through, just going to feed it and push and pull at the same time. And this takes a little bit of finagling, but it'll happen. And just like that, you just gotta fight it a little bit. You pull it out, unwrap it, and start again. All right, I'm on my brake side now. And y'all, I ain't gonna lie, this is an aggravating deal, but it's definitely not aggravating enough to spend $600–700, let somebody else deal with it. Now on that lowrider, messing with clutch cables and getting all up in your side of your engine and all that, it's, I don't know, it may be worth it. Just get somebody to do it. But on this, all day long, I'll do it. Just take your time. If you start getting aggravated, take a break. I mean, it ain't going nowhere. That's usually when you mess ups happen, is when you aggravated and if you're anything like me, you want to go to yanking on stuff and all that. But all right, just got done with all my wiring. I'm gonna get this thing undone, start putting my everything back on the bars, and it'll be ready to go back on the bike here in just a second. And I started this an hour ago by myself, so it's really nothing to it. All right, getting ready to get these bars put back on the bike. I'm waiting on some grips to come in, so I'm not gonna go with that yet. But I did have 2 extensions I had to use for the 14-inch bars. Everything else is stock. I simply attached them. I did come over here, and as I mentioned before, there's a pin right here that you wanna go ahead and push in. Stock bars have a slide in them so that they cannot adjust. They actually go, that pin goes in that slot, and they're stuck the way they are. The factory 47s do have an opening for this, but I'm gonna go ahead and push it in case I want to adjust these bars more than what that allows. So I've got everything hooked up. I'm about to put them back up here into the riser, put the bolts in, get my wires plugged up, and then I'm gonna be set up waiting on some grips to come in. Alrighty, got the bars put back into the riser, got these 4 bolts snugged up, just holding it in place. About to get all these wires plugged back up into the proper location, and gonna get me some zip ties, clean it up a bit. Once I get that done, we'll be pretty much set up waiting on the RLNS grips to come in. But I'll show you everything once we get it all buttoned back up. All right, guys, and that's the factory 47s. That install right there was 10 times easier than the Lowrider S. But one thing I will note is that when you're putting all this back together, your brake cable and your throttle cable run up the frame, and they're all connected right there. In order for me to get enough slack to get up here for the 14-inch bars, I did have to unattach them and cut a couple zip ties just to free up enough slack to get them up. But once I did that, as you can see, I got plenty of slack now. I'm gonna have to actually clean it back up a little bit, but that's the only thing I'll say that you want to keep in mind. Turned out well, waiting on the grips. Once I get the grips in, we'll put her back together and roll with it. But that's it, factory 47s.